Hello and welcome to Fifth and Grace. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Canadian politics. Obviously, I'm very political. Many of us are here. So we have a budget coming up. I believe it's going to be tabled on November 4th. We haven't had a budget in probably a year and a half. The budget from the previous government was tabled in the middle of December. I think it was December 16th. It was tabled last year, and then the government promptly collapsed. Everything went haywire from there. This budget is meant to basically decimate the country. We know that a lot of the contracts being given out will be going to Brookfield Asset Management companies because, and I'm just going to say this, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, okay? I'm sure I'll end up in jail at some point for talking about the Canadian government, but because they want to make that illegal too. But you know what? I'm actually going to start with one little bit of thing because a lot of people don't actually understand how these things work. So we're in Canada, we're under the parliamentary system. We have MPs that form parties, and each party has a leader. And so when your party wins the most seats in the election, the leader of your party becomes the prime minister. I know in America it's very different. It's a different system. I actually prefer the American system at this point in my life. I used to think the parliamentary system was all right, but at this point now I'm like, no, we could switch. So the party that wins the election, that has the most seats, and their leader is the prime minister, the party's not the government. The whole, like, there's 334 seats in the House, I believe, in the Canadian House. That's not the government. The party that wins is not the government. The cabinet, the ministers that are chosen by the prime minister to be the inner circle, that's the government. So when people are constantly saying, why has Pierre Poilievre not done anything? Well, what do you think he should do? I think you have to understand what is possible for him to do. And it's not possible for him to change laws, enact change, get bills through unless he has enough people in the House supporting it. Unfortunately, for the last 10 years, the Conservative Party has not had enough seats. Things are changing rapidly. But I just wanted to explain that because a lot of people don't really quite fully understand how this all works. So the parties just had an election. At the end of April was our voting day. And we had, obviously an election. The Liberal Party won a minority government, which means that they alone do not have the power to get anything passed. They have to have other parties. The NDP mostly will vote with them to get them over the threshold. So we now have this budget coming. And whenever we have a budget presented in the House, in the chamber, in, all of that, it will trigger a confidence vote. And this is the moment when a government could collapse. So on the 4th, when this is tabled, I don't know when the vote will be, if it's that day or in the days after that, but that will be a vote to either accept or reject the budget. If a majority of the MPs reject the budget, the government collapses and we go to an election. If the majority of the MPs approve the budget, then we keep going as we are. So there's that, all right? So that I thought it's important to explain all of that before I read on the budget so people know what we're actually talking about and how this works. So I'll put a timestamp. So, if you don't need the civics lesson, you can just skip forward to the reading. I'm going to do a few readings on this leading up to the budget based on certain questions. People are like, can you read on Mark Carney and what he's up to? Well, we already know what he's up to. Like it's all out in the open. You know what I mean? I'm not going to find any more details hidden in the shadows. It's all out in the open. We all know who he is, who he works for, and what he's doing. So I don't need to look for any more clues. on that. And if you don't know what he's doing, go read his book. Oh, you voted for him and you didn't know he had a book? Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people I know were so rah, he's our guy, but didn't know he had written a book explaining what he was going to do. So there we have it. All right, this is serious. I feel very deep and dark here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 7 cards. I'm going to pull 14 cards. 1 set of 7 for Mark Carney and 1 set of 7 for Pierre Poilievre. And we're going to see who's going to get their way in November. And this is just the energy today. The energy could change dramatically. And this is what I say. What I say today, that could change tomorrow with one decision. So for example, if the NDP find out that part of this budget is gutting every social service this country offers, the NDP are not going to support it. The government will collapse. Right? The parties don't really want an election right now because we just had one 6 months ago. And the parties are broke. They need to raise money, which is why everybody's trying to get out there. And if you want your party to win, contact your MP's office, and if they are your party, and volunteer. Get on their list of volunteers. Get on their list for, become a member of the party. And usually it's like $10 or less. And then you'll get invitations to events, things like that. Volunteer when the election does happen. You'll get to know the team. You'll get to know your MP a lot more. You'll have a lot of access. Like when people are like, how are you hanging out with Michelle Ferreri? How are you hanging out with Jamil Javani? How are you like getting invited to a Pierre Poilievre cocktail party? Because I volunteer and I worked my tushy off during this election. And I not with any intention of, oh, this is going to get me into rooms, but it did. That was sort of the byproduct of all of our hard work, is that the top volunteers, like the people who kind of formed the board after the election, we get these invitations. So, there's a pro tip for you. And when people say volunteer, you don't have to volunteer your entire life. During the election, like I say to people, if you have 1 hour that you could come in and, put some signs together, fold some letters, make a couple phone calls, great. Every little bit helps. Okay, so that's my civics lesson for the day. We're going to pull some cards now. But I did really feel like it was important, especially for people around the world who follow me and watch me, who don't quite understand how our system works here. But I'll put a little note that you can skip to the reading and skip over the civics lesson. But anyway, if you learned something, please let me know in the comments. And if you don't ever leave comments, do me a favor, leave a comment and tell me why. Because I would love to know. I'd love to know why you never, argue with me. If you don't agree, argue with me. I would love that. I would love that. Okay. Mark, Pierre. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. So, uprights are yes, reversals are no. So the question on the table is the budget going to pass? So is Mark going to get his way, or is Pierre going to get his way? And I don't know that Pierre wants an election, but it would be great if we could get an election now while the Liberal numbers are so low. Okay. So that's 1 upright. A reversal. Actually, I'll put the reversals lower. A reversal. All right, so we have 4 upright and 3 reversals for Mark Carney. It got very quiet. There we go. That's the energy today. So we have 5 uprights versus 4 uprights. Now, I want you to pause for a minute, and before you start screaming and yelling at me like I've had in the past, saying, that's a clear win, that's a clear win. When I read on the election earlier this year, and it was literally one card difference. That's not a clear win to me. Mark Carney's walking around saying, I have a strong mandate from the people. No, you don't. You have a minority government. That's not a strong mandate at all. So this is what I'm saying. A one card difference. I'm like, okay, it's looking positive. It's looking positive. Do not bank your entire life on this moment. Okay? This is this moment today in the middle of October. We'll look at this again. We'll do different readings to see what the energy is, what's coming up. But right now, I would say, based on the energy today, the way people are feeling, the polling, what's going on in the house, the conversations that are taking place, nobody should be happy with this budget. And it looks like Pierre may get a win. Okay? So we'll leave this here for now. The energy may change dramatically. Like, just so that you know, over the weekend, the polling numbers, Mark Carney's approval rating with women went from 43% to 33%. That's a 10-point drop. They've been in session less than a month, and his numbers are plummeting. Okay, so this energy may change over the next few weeks while we gear up for this budget. But there you have it. A tiny sliver of hope, a tiny, tiny sliver. And we'll keep checking in on this and see what happens. Don't forget to click like, click subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know why you don't comment. Argue with me. Tell me you hate me. I don't care. I'm here for all of it. I love the comments. I love it even when people argue with me or don't agree. As long as you're like not an a-hole about it. You know, if you disagree, but you don't need to attack me, because I've had that happen. People call me all kinds of names and I'm like, what's that achieving? Okay. Anyway, so subscribe, like, comment, and as ever, have a magical day.